大家好，我的名字是施愿怡，我今天在 Georgia Strait 包着。Hello, my name is Michelle Da Silva, and I'm here at the Georgia Strait with editor Charlie Smith. Good morning, Charlie.
Shishi. Benji, Georgia Strait. I'm Charlie Smith, editor of the Georgia Strait, and it's great to be here with you, Michelle.
Great. So today we're going to touch on a few stories that we've been reporting on this week. Charlie, do you want to start with what's going on in the municipal world?
Yeah, it's quite exciting, actually. We've got a mayoral race underway in Vancouver between Gregor Robertson of Vision Vancouver. He's trying for his third term against Kirk Lapointe, who's the former managing editor of the Vancouver Sun. And Kirk Lapointe is the NPA candidate. It's his first time in politics. And one of the things Gregor Robertson is trying to do is, by winning his third straight election, he would be following in the footsteps of several previous mayors, Philip Owen, Gordon Campbell, and Mike Harcourt. The last mayor who was in for 2 terms and didn't win a third term was Jack Volrich. In 1980, he lost to Mike Harcourt. So Kirk Lapointe is trying to upset him. One of the things Vision Vancouver is trying to make a big case of is that Kirk Lapointe doesn't actually live in Vancouver. He lives on the university endowment lands in what's called Electoral Area A. His wife is a professor at UBC, and Kirk Lapointe teaches journalism there. He's an adjunct professor. He works on the North Shore, but he does have long history in Vancouver as managing editor of the Vancouver Sun for 7 years. In addition, he was the ombudsman for CBC, which was a national position, but he worked out of Vancouver for a couple of years. So we'll see what happens. One of the things, a lot of people don't know Kirk Lapointe's name in Vancouver still. People in the media know him. Mm-hmm. So I found it quite amusing at the Pride Parade when I saw the NPA candidates, and they all had shirts with Pride and NPA, and then they had their names individually on each shirt. So you would see, oh, Rob McDowell, he's running for city council because people don't know him. And Kirk Lapointe had his name on his shirt, and Sarah Kirby-Young, who's running for park board. So I found that quite amusing. The difference was the Vision Vancouver people. They didn't have their name on their shirt, but they actually had the translation Vision Vancouver in the Chinese script. So I thought they're reaching out to the Chinese community, and all the NPA is trying to do is just get people to know their names.
I see. Another person that was at the Pride Parade was Justin Trudeau, isn't that right?
Yes, I ran into Justin Trudeau. It was quite fun. I saw this commotion. I was walking up Thurlow Street, Justin Trudeau being the Liberal leader and possible future prime minister. So I saw all these camera people taking pictures, and I went, what's going on? There must be something going on. So I went running up and got down, took a picture, and it turned out to be Justin Trudeau surrounded by about 8 or 9 young women. And so it was like, it was almost like, you know, a scene out of Girls Gone Wild, and you've got the future Prime Minister of Canada being surrounded by all these young women, and they were all very excited. And then I chatted with him and had my picture taken with him. And then he walked in the parade. There were lots of other politicians there too. There was Libby Davies was there from the New Democrats, and the mayor was there. And the Pride Parade attracts a lot of politicians, just like the Chinatown Parade or Vaisakhi, these big cultural events. Vision Vancouver actually had what might be the largest rainbow flag in the world, and wow. And it was right across the street, and Stepan Vodovin, who's the executive director of Vision, was telling me that they actually measured the width of the street so they could create a flag that would go from one end of the street to the other end of the street. And so it was a lot of fun, but it was interesting to see Justin Trudeau there. And we'll be having an article about him in the Georgia Strait in the next little while, because one of our writers had a chance to interview him as well.
Great. What other news is happening in either federal or municipal politics?
On the federal side, I think what's happening is the New Democrats are having a bit of a challenge posed by Justin Trudeau, because he's getting a lot of media attention, and I think the predicament facing Tom Mulcair with the NDP, who's the leader and leader of the opposition, is that the Liberals have gone way up in the polls, and then people who don't like the Conservatives, that they may end up looking at Justin Trudeau as the best option. if you want to get rid of the Conservatives. And if that vote coalesces around the Liberals, and we've seen this traditionally in the past, 1975 election was a good example, where the Liberals then start winning seats that you never expect them to win. They won Vancouver East, for instance, in 1975, which is an NDP stronghold. 1993 was another example where there was a big appetite to get rid of the Conservatives after 9 years of rule with Brian Mulroney. Kim Campbell came in, and the Liberals won Vancouver East again. Justin Trudeau was out in Douglas Park in Vancouver for a barbecue with the Liberals. They managed to get more people, I think, because they had free hot dogs and, a children's craft area and things like that. But he had a huge turnout. And I think this is something new that we're seeing in federal politics.
Terrific. A lot of it's been going on in provincial politics as well, hasn't it, this week?
Yeah, it's actually, there was a disaster at Imperial Metals Corporation, a tailings pond at the Mount Poly mine, which is in the Caribou, burst, and 10,000 cubic meters of water went into Poly Lake, and it's threatening Quesnel Lake and this whole kind of watershed area. People get their drinking water out of Quesnel Lake, and there's some risk that it could lead to contamination of the Fraser River, and the salmon runs come through in the late summer. So this is a very, very serious situation. The Premier was up there this week. And one of the issues, it's a gold, silver, and copper mine. But the ore body also contains other metals which they don't extract for the purpose of selling, like cadmium or aluminum. And we don't know all the metals that might be in that ore body, but what's in the ore body, according to one of the people I spoke to, is likely to be in what was called the tailings pond. So the tailings pond, this is the waste, it's the toxic mine waste, and they put it in an area, and then they have a choice. Often it's put underwater because that will prevent oxidization. But what happens is if it's underwater, now there's questions about, well, this was an earth dam that was holding the water in. And one of the environmentalists I spoke to, Glenda Ferris, was saying, well, if you're putting water in the tailings pond, you should have rocks, because when the levels go up, it creates so much hydrostatic pressure that it can burst. And the other issue is she's saying that copper, which is part of the mine, what they were mining, but they don't extract 100% of the copper in the mining process. So if there's copper in these tailings, that copper is just devastating for aquatic sea life. So everything from fish to algae. But it's still early. The first tests indicated that it wasn't as bad as people might have thought. It's still preliminary. They're bringing water up there. But that's that is the biggest provincial story. And also there's questions about regulation. Should the mine, should they have been forced to create a separate pond for the wastewater in addition to where they were storing the tailings? Because they put them together and then the toxic mine waste goes flowing out when the dam bursts. So that's one issue. Another issue is lack of a treatment plant. That's very expensive, but it's feasible that the regulators could have demanded this in this case. I think the provincial government's been very eager to promote the mining industry and wanted to make it easier for the mining industry to function in British Columbia. And this accident, I think, has really rocked the industry and shaken confidence, because it's a massive, dam bursting, and a lot of poisons are going into the water that conceivably people drink.
Yes. If you'd like to learn more about this Mount Poly story, we've got a lot of news on the Georgia Strait website, strait.com, so you can go there and read up more on the different articles that we've got there.